Hi, in this video I want to talk about how to add footnotes to your Turabian style document. Now, here we are in Microsoft Word 2010, and just so that you know, Microsoft Word 2007 should look very similar to this. If you're using an older word processor like 1997 or earlier, it's going to look quite a bit different, and so you'll have to figure out how to do that in those earlier versions. But suppose here that this last sentence is a quote. I'll put it in quotation marks. Now, so that we're not plagiarizing, we want to cite the author. In 2007-2010, you can come up to the ribbon and click on References. This tab opens up some various options. One of the more prominent ones is this Insert Footnote button. Once you click on that, wherever your cursor is going to add a footnote. So it's important to have your cursor exactly where you want it to be, always at the end immediately following your quotation. So in this case, my quotation ends here after homosexuality. My cursor's there, so I add a footnote. In Turabian, the footnotes are separated from the main text of the document, but they're on the same page. That's why they're called footnotes and not endnotes. So now we cite the author. I'm going to pretend I wrote this, so I'm going to put down the information as if I wrote this book. In footnoting, as opposed to bibliography, the first name comes first and then the last name. Then you italicize book titles. In this case, I'm going to call my book Interesting Book. And then in parentheses is the publisher information. First comes the city, then comes the publisher, and then separated by a comma is the date or the year it was published. You end the parentheses and then put a comma and then write the page where you can find the quote you have quoted. In this case, I just made up a number, 23. Now, one of the nice things about using Microsoft Word is that the numbers will change automatically. So if you add footnotes before or after it, then the numbers will change. So let's say, for example, that I have quoted a phrase and not an entire sentence. So let's say Paul identifies his target is a phrase I quoted another author saying. I'm gonna bracket it off with quotation marks, and when you cite a quotation like this, you enter the footnote right at the end of the quote itself. So you don't wait till the end of the sentence, but rather of the quote. So in this case, I put my cursor right after the phrase Paul identifies his target, which supposedly I took from another author, and then I come up and insert a footnote. Notice that our original footnote has changed to be go from a 1 to a 2 because it's taking into consideration that we've added one before it. So now I type in a fictitious source here, Joe Smith, and then I'll write it the city and the publisher are separated by a colon. The year again separated by a comma, and then you put the page number where you can find that quote. So that's how you do that. Now, the other thing that's important is to remember is, let's say you don't quote another author, but you take their idea. Like, for example, let's say that there's something in here that, although I didn't quote verbatim, I did use an idea from another source. That still has to be cited. So let's say this sentence includes information that I got from a dictionary. go to the end of that sentence. Since there's no actual quote, there's no quote for me to put the footnote after. So I just go to the end of the sentence and I cite whatever book I learned from. In this case, I'll do this name here. And there we go. Notice how all the numbers are taking into account each other. So Word does that all automatically. Anyway, I hope that explains how and when to use footnotes.